Yes. Welcome to our webinar. Name is Reshaping the Cities and Communities by Tarık Khayyat. We are very pleased to have him today as a speaker for our webinar, and thank you for being here. We are excited to learn from your experience on human-centered design. I'm going to read briefly a biography about Tarık Khayyat, then we can give the stage to him. Tarık Khayyat is an architect and designer with over 20 years of international experience in designing and delivering a project across the Middle East, Asia, and European. He co-founder of TKDP in 2019, an international awarded winning design studio focusing on shaping cities and communities' experience. Since the studio's establishment, TKDP has received international recognition from its design approach and philosophy. The studio's latest project, The Fold and the Edge Residence, have been awarded in the International Architecture Award, the Chicago Atheneum Award, the Japan Design Award, and the RIBA Award. Before TKDP, Tarık was project director at Zaha Hadid office in London, later leading their Middle East headquarters. He co-leads some of the office's most notable projects, including Baja Court Quarter and Mexico International Cultural Center. Tarık holds a master's degree in architecture and urbanism from the Architecture Associated in London. He is also a lecturer and critic in the UK and Middle East. Thank you, and we would invite him to start his presentation. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation, Tarık Hoca.
Thank you so much, Suat. Thank you. Can everybody see the screen? Is it clear? You can see my screen, right? Perfect. Okay.
Right now, no, still we cannot see your screen. We are waiting. Yes, right now we share the screen.
Perfect. So you can see everything's fine. Okay, so you can
right now we can see it. Yes.
You can see the screen and you can hear me well. Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Suat, for the invite, and thanks everyone for joining and attending today. I'll try to keep I don't like to call it a presentation. I like to call it as a chit chat. So I'll just take you through a bit of my architectural journey, the projects we are working on, and just engaging you through the kind of, a progress or a career of somebody who studied architecture and had a dream to achieve something in architecture. Whether this dream has been fulfilled or not, this is something different. But I will take you quickly through my journey, my education, my career, and then the projects we've been working on. Feel free to ask questions, to stop if you have anything to raise or comment on. So let's just give it a bit of a flexible chit chat more than a presentation itself. Each journey, each architectural career starts with a journey. And this is something I always say, that it's important for architectural students to set up an objective when they enter this field. So when they have the decision to start architecture, it's one of the very few positions or professions that you cannot just do it because you just want to be an architect. It's just something you have to do because you have to study something. It's one of these professions that you really need to have a deep understanding and passion towards, because it's quite demanding profession. It's a very fulfilling, mentally, spiritually, but it's also very demanding. So since I was a kid, I knew that architecture is going to be my path. Maybe because I grew up in an architectural house. My father was an architect. He is an architect still. So I grew up when I was a kid seeing physical models, drawings. At that time, there were T-squares and drawing tables. So I grew up within this kind of environment. So shaping architecture in my career was a bit of a clear idea for me. I studied my first degree, my undergraduate, actually, I studied it in Cyprus, North Cyprus. So I did my first degree in the EMU Cyprus. And from that moment, I understood that I need to go on international. I need to start planning. When I was still at university, I remember when I was at my third year at university, I started applying for universities abroad. I tried to understand how I'm going to be shaping my career and my education further. So upon my completion of my undergraduate in Cyprus, I went to the Architectural Association School in London. It's a private architectural school. It's kind of representing the avant-garde of architectural thinking. So it was all about, experiment, and it was always about pushing the boundaries of architecture. So we didn't have a conventional academic learning during the school as we are used in Cyprus or all over the world. The projects were based on experiment, learning, research. And maybe the best thing I get out of my master's degree studies was the concept of research, that you cannot achieve anything in architecture without having an extensive research about the project, about the methods, about the strategies, about the design methodologies. And the AA was, the Architectural Association, the abbreviation, people call it internationally the AA. It was all about experiment and about learning and about exploring options and exploring ideas. So it was a great chance for me to kind of brainwash the whole concept of architecture. I finished my master's degree studies, and then literally after finishing my graduation in London, I was lucky enough, or I was privileged enough, or I worked hard enough during my master's studies to join Zaha, the architect's office in London. So this was back in 2004. That's when I was freshly graduate, and I started studying at Zaha, the architects in London, working at Zaha, the architects in London as an assistant architect. And through the journey, I was privileged enough to work closely to Zaha. She was a mentor, she was a friend, she was a boss. But all these kind of small things worked in helping and shaping my architectural vision and my passion towards the career and my passion towards excellency. And it's very important in every place you go to, you get something out of it. So when I was studying in Cyprus, it was maybe a good chance for me to see international students, to have something away from home, to break the kind of, this comfort zone of being surrounded by the family. When I went to London and I studied at the AA, it was about the research, about the experiment, and about, working hard and, achieving excellency. Moving to Zaha, where I spent almost 14 years at Zaha the Architects, it was completely reshifting and completely reshaping the ideas of mindset and achieving excellency, where every project is a new milestone, and you need to be pushing the boundaries to achieve the best design, to keep experiment, and to keep kind of challenging your own self when it comes to the architecture. And again, it's all about having vision and having thoughts and having ideas. Architects by default, they are dreamers. They like to dream, and they like to keep thinking about what the future is going to bring for them. The same way we design our buildings and we dream about our buildings, it's also good to design and dream about our architectural path. What I'm doing in the next 5 years, what I'm doing in the next 10 years, what kind of architect do I want to be? Do I want to be working in a big office? Do I want to be having my own design studio? Do I want to be working in a big firm? What is my objective? And since the beginning, my objective was to have my own architectural practice, my own architectural studio. So when I was in London, this is just a photo taken with my team back in London, the team that I've been working and leading for almost my entire time in London's office, in Zaha's office. And it's very important to, as I mentioned, to understand what's your vision of architecture, what do you want to be. And it's very important to understand, because architecture is about teamwork. It's really important to understand who are your colleagues, who are your friends, who are the people who are sharing the same vision and the same ambition like you. So I had my business partner, who's currently my business partner, Lee. He was part of the team member, and we always, from day one, we clicked in terms of architectural thinking, philosophy. We were sharing ideas, and back at Zaha, we were talking about one day we're going to start our architecture somewhere in the world. So this photo was taken in 2013, and this photo was taken in 2023. So 10 years of friendship, partnership, working for someone else like Zaha, to establishing our own practice. And that concept of establishing a small studio, trying to break the stereotype of architecture in the region, trying to bring a new architecture, moved to becoming an international design studio. We are a boutique design studio. And because of our design philosophy, because what we've learned at Zaha, what we've learned at the AA, our approach for architecture and for design is about international standards. It's about pushing the boundaries. It's about creating a new ideology and methodology of architecture. So our projects, since we established back 7 years ago, our projects have been published widely and internationally. So they've been published in Design, Domus, Monocle, Architecture Digest. We won a number of international awards globally. So we mentioned the European International Architecture Award, the Japan Design Award, the Royal Institute of British Architects, the Madrid Award, etc., etc. And again, it's about, and this is something, an ego the architects should always have in themselves, that we always seek excellency, we always seek the best. So when we decided to establish our office from day one, we had the mission and we have a vision that we will not be another architectural practice, just joining thousands and thousands of offices. We want to have a niche, we want to have a style, we want to have a way that our projects become published internationally, becomes recognized internationally. So I will move from, quick kind of recap of my journey in architecture to come to our office and our design studio methodology and identity. And our main focus when we started the design is, we are based in Dubai. Just to give you background, we are based in Dubai. We have a small office in China, in Shenzhen, and we have a small office in London, but our main office is based in Dubai. So when we started the practice, we had a challenge of, we are competing in a very competitive city, where there's thousands of architectural offices, international offices, everybody's competing. The city is large, is fast, is developing very, very quickly. How can we bring an identity to our projects? How we can stand out? How we can elevate ourselves from the normal projects, from whatever is being developed? So we had to study again the research. We had to study the city. We had to study the architectural language. We had to understand the typology of the architecture there, which kind of was our entry point to our first project we did in Dubai. So as I mentioned, we've been studying the low-rise buildings, the residential projects, the typologies, the architectural identity they're having, and all of these projects were having no identity, no taste, and it was hardly serving the community. So as an architect, our mission is not just to design for the end users, for the client. We shape the cities, and we have a very, very important mission that every design we put and gets built is kind of adding a small puzzle to the whole cityscape and to the whole city skyline. So we have a very important role in producing architecture that elevates the quality of the life and elevates the social activity and the neighbor and the urban fabric within the city. Our first project that we had to build in Dubai was a townhouses project. The client came to us with a brief of, they want to build 28 townhouses in Dubai. Repeated copy-paste, commercials are very important, budget was tight. So our mission was, or our challenge was, how to design a residential project that hits all the client's objectives in terms of budget, cost, etc., but at the same time it stands out. And again, the concept of research, we did research about villas and townhouses projects in Dubai, townhouses project in Beijing, townhouses project in London, how we can come up with solutions and ideas that makes this project stands out and add a signature to the city. So again, we kept, looking at all the typologies in Dubai. All of them, they have no identity, they have no spirit, they have no character. And our main vision was, we have to create something that stands out. So as you start in the studio now in this university, we start with a brief, with a land. So the client gave us a piece of land that they told us, this is the boundaries of the piece of land. That's kind of, as per regulations, we can build X square meters on this plot. We can go X meters in terms of number of floors and the height of the building. TKDP, please design for us 28 townhouses that commercially are viable, but at the same time, they produce significant look and feel. So, I mean, this is a quick comparison between what is Dubai is used to on the left side and what we provided the client with. So inspiration is very important. And whatever you've learned at university about concept, what is your concept of the design, that thing should not fade out when you actually in your professional career. So a successful architectural studio or a successful architect should always look for inspiration. Even if you're doing a commercial project for a developer, we start by this first concept. What is our inspiration? What are we trying to deliver here? And one of the first things we've noticed on the site, if we go back to the site, that it's a pretty empty site. There's no soul, there's no character, no landscape, nothing at all. So we felt that we need to bring a bit of fluidity to the site, a bit of kind of, a bit of spirit to the site. And our concept was, why we don't get inspired by something by the nature? Why we have this 200 meters plot, why we don't plant it with the tulips? And our buildings are gonna look like a field of tulip sitting in the middle of the city. So we started by designing 28 townhouses. They're repeated copy-paste townhouses in terms of plan layout, in terms of functionality, in terms of accessibility. And we started, so it's practical, it's sufficient, it's affordable. It follows all the construction sequence and the construction capabilities in the city, but in the same time, how we can look into a facade feature, a design feature that makes the project stands out from everything else. So we came up with this concept of planting the site with a tulips feature that works as a structural connection between the two townhouses. And the 28 townhouses are overlooking a central spine that will be serving the community. So again, we didn't want to design a project that you just get inside your villa, you close your door, and you completely disconnect from your neighbors and your community. But we create a central spine, a central kind of breathing space in the heart of the project that could be acting as a shaded space. It creates a buffer zone. It creates a buffer zone from the main busy road. So the space, the internal space here is the one in the center behind the villas facing the main road. So it's 2 rows of villas with a central spine that acts like the heart of the project with these distinguished tulip feature that structurally are connecting every 2 townhouses together. Again, showing the construction versus reality. So at the end of the day, we are providing the client with a profound architectural feature. It's creating a communal space in the middle that neighbors can gather in here, and this became a very communal space. So all the neighbors living in these townhouses, during the evening, they go out, they do their jogging, they go out with their kids on the strollers. So it became not only serving the client, but also it acted as a social connection between the neighbors and between the tenants. And again, just different views showing the articulation of the project and how these features, they've been acting not only as a structural connection between the townhouses, but they start to draw a nice silhouette that breaks the rigidness of the street and the entire neighborhood. I mean, here we can see the site plan clearly explaining the project. So we have a 60 meters by 200 meters plot. So it's quite large plot, it's quite linear plot. And because we have the repeated townhouses, adding these features, the tulip features, the white features, it breaks the rigidness of the street. So we have 28 townhouses overlooking a central spine that became the breathing space for the tenants and for the residents. Each townhouse, again, if you do a quite iconic, organic, external form, it doesn't mean that you need to compromise your internal spaces. So from internal planning layout, it was very sufficient. These are the 2 townhouses connected with the tulip feature that connect them structurally together. And again, just different views through the spine, the detailing. It's very, very important to be honest to what we model. So everything we do out of 3D. And this is maybe an important message for, I'm not sure which year you are, second year, third year graduation. Investing in your digital skills is the only thing I can recommend you in. The only recommendation I can give you is investing your digital skills. And I'm not talking about SketchUp or ArchiCAD. I'm talking about Rhino, 3D Max, Maya, Grasshopper. You find you should have kind of a weapon. You should be strengthening your skills by having the best digital skills that allows you to transfer and translate your dreams onto the paper. So all these interfaces between different materials, all these things and details we've been articulating in the 3D world. The project was completed. It's fully sold, and so the clients commercially they achieved their targets. And architecturally, we created a masterpiece that it won so many international awards, and it's been published globally. Just different reviews for the project, simple finishes. There's no need to go for many colors, just two different tones to create a nice synergy and harmony within the surroundings, to create the contrast between the sky, between the white finishes, the wood-like material. All these things add a nice balance and harmony to the project. This is something I'm always proud about to show to the clients even, which is the journey of our work from the competition, from the concept render that we did when we started the project, the dreamy sketch, the vision that we sold to the client, to the execution during construction, to the reality. And if you visit the project in real life, you will find out that the reality has a better quality and look and feel than the actual render. So this shows kind of pre, during, and after completion. And that massive tulip feature that connects the two townhouses together, it creates a distinguished entrance point and makes this project as a landmark within the city. Just different corners, different shades, and different details showing the relationship between different materials and surfaces. Each townhouse had a jacuzzi and a small pool on the top, providing a breathtaking skyline view towards the city. Again, everything we do during the entire stages, we develop in 3D. So we produce CAD drawings, we produce sections, elevation plans, but everything, every detail you see, every interface, we solve this in the 3D world. So we don't rely on just 2D drawings, because quite often if you have a quite complex geometry, regardless how many sections or plans you take, you cannot understand the complexity or the interfaces without understanding this in the 3D. You know, for example, we had to study all these, we had to study all the, I'm trying to go back, but it's not allowing me. We had to study the interfaces of the project to understand the detailing of that one. Sorry, allow me quickly to, because for some reason I'm not able to, So the tulip feature, the white feature, we had to do so many rationalization process. So we had to create a families. This is GRP, which is gypsum reinforced plaster. So it's a very fluid material. It's very solid, but it's easy to shape once you create the mold. So it just shows you how much 3D proficiency is very important to make sure that you can make lots of rationalization of this feature, the dimension, how you can adjust the surfaces to make sure that it could be practical and it could be easily executed. And of course, informing the client about the best material. We've done a research about which finish we can apply between GRC, GRP, EAFs, powder-coated aluminum. It's very important to have an understanding of the material and the advantage of each material and how this material could serve your architectural design and your also your environmental aspect of the project. Again, dividing the building into categories, into sections, different materials, different interfaces. So basically, it's like a Lego. We have to break down the building into components and sections and reassemble it again to understand the challenges we might be facing and how we can sort out every detail and every aspect of the project. going always, we don't only produce 2D sections, we produce 3D sections to understand the interfaces, the cladding, the wall built up. These things you cannot achieve if you don't have a strong 3D knowledge and skills. This is during the construction, showing the GRP features and how it gets connected to the concrete surfaces, and the scale of that piece. So I mean, compared to one person here within that piece, it's quite massive piece that has been handled perfectly. Checking the quality, doing mock-ups. And this is during construction when we installed the tulip feature that's connecting the two townhouses. Again, during construction and at completion. Details are very, very important. You might have the most beautiful render, the most beautiful project from distance, but once you get closer to the project, you start to find problems, you start to find ugly details. So understanding the interfaces are very, very important to make sure that we have a spotless quality. Each cluster of two townhouses is connected through bridges with a with a hole in the middle that allows landscape feature to go between them. In general views. The second project I would like to talk about is the H residence. It's in Dubai as well. And the client owned this piece of land with this old building on it. So there was an existing building over the plot. And it was a small shopping mall, G+2, with Baskin Robbins, Domino's Pizzas, small cafes, and it was the hangout place for the kids and the teenagers in this area. They used to go after school, buy their ice cream, their pizza, etc. So it was an ugly building, but it has lots of memories because it was built long time ago. And the client decided to demolish this building and build something new, modern. When the client took that decision, there was lots of noise in the neighborhood, in the community. People were writing, pictures on Facebook, on Twitter that, we're against demolishing this building. Let's keep it. It's part of our childhood memories. So as an architect, we felt an obligation that we have to bring something back to the community. We are taking away their memories, but we need to give them something back. And the first thing we thought about that amongst this entire neighborhood, which is very dense with shops, villas, clinics, cafes, there's no park there. There's no one green landscape area that could be accessible by everyone. So we decided to replace this building by a commercial building that has restaurants, apartments, but at the same time has a park, a small landscape area, a small plaza that could be accessible by everyone. So this is the old building, as you can see. This was after all the tenants left, but it was forming a big part of their identity. And you can see the surrounding neighborhood. It's very dry, no green space, nothing. So we felt we have to give something back to the community. So our concept was to maximize the footprint of the plot, and then creating a gap in the middle of the project by splitting the building into two sections. And the center section will become a public plaza, a public park that could be accessible by everyone. And by doing so, one, we are giving an internal views to the cafes, to the restaurant, to the apartments here. So we're giving something commercially, something is going to elevate the building for the client. In the same time, it gives a public space that all the neighborhoods around can access. And then, so after splitting the building into two sections by creating the central plaza, on the first floor, we connected the two sections by a bridge. So this bridge doesn't interrupt the flow of movement between the beginning of the site and the end of the site. So, as I mentioned, we created, this is the real photo, we created the central plaza in the project that splits the building into two sections with a bridge that's connecting the two sections. And by this, all these restaurants on the right and the left here, they have a view towards the park. So commercially, it elevates these restaurants. And the apartments here as well, they have view towards the park. So this is a photo taking from the main street. So we created a central plaza that splits the building into two sections, and the plaza is gently sloping down to create a sense of nature and fluidity. And then we have the restaurant on the right and the left. We have apartments on the first floor and townhouses at the back side of the project, and the bridge that connects the two sections. This bridge is only accessible by the residents, and this park could be accessible by everyone. Could be accessible by the people in the restaurant, even you as a person living in the neighborhood. You can take your sandwich and you can sit in this park. So it becomes a true immersive, human-centric space that could be utilized by everyone. Again, this is kind of an aerial shot showing the, the building in this, with the plaza in the center and the bridge connecting both buildings. And you see the plaza is sloping down, going all the way down to the back of the project where we have the lobby of the residents. So at the end of the plaza goes under the bridge, penetrates through the lobby of the residents. To the back side of the project, we have the drop-off area for the residents. And the fluidity of the line, it's a very simple finish, is just plaster cladding, concrete with a plaster finish. So again, there's no need to complicate the material, the finishes. If you really control the geometry, you can have a beautiful result and beautiful finishes. So the plaza goes from the main street towards the center of the plaza, under the bridge to the lobby. To the back side of the project, we have the drop-off area for the residents. And again, looking at finishes, making a research about the best cladding, the best finishes that the project can achieve. All the details are built in 3D. So we don't, even when we do zoom in details, 1 to 10, 1 to 5, we do them in 3D to understand the brackets, the connectivity, the build-up of the walls. So again, I keep emphasizing in every talk I give at any university, I keep encouraging students to invest in their digital skills. During the construction, doing mock-ups, to understand the finishes, the quality, supervising the contractor's work. And on the side of the project, we designed the balconies in a way that they are semi-shaded by these louvers, so it creates a semi-shaded space, and in the same time, it creates a sense of privacy to the people inside these apartments. So again, during construction and after completion, the right choice of the light, the finishes, everything gives you the proper kind of look and feel. This is a view from the back of the project where we have the drop-off area of the residents. And this is a view from the lobby, from the bridge. So this is the bridge that connects the two sections of the building. It's only accessible by the tenants, and it's kind of a lounge, and gives you view towards the plaza of the project. Small details, the finishes, the color selection, it all complements the architecture. And again, this is during the construction, showing the plaza that goes under the bridge. And the bridge at the top, it hosts a swimming pool. So on the top of the bridge that connects the two sections, there is a swimming pool only for the tenants that gives them a view towards the downtown skyline, Burj Khalifa, and towards the plaza. Different views from the bridge. Clean finishes, neat finishes, and we intentionally wanted to make contrast. So the exterior looks quite fluid and complex, but the interior looks very simple. We took the decision because this bridge, the bridge connecting the two sections, is 26 meters. So it's quite a huge span. So it has a steel structure. And the decision was to expose the steel structure to keep it as part of the interior space. I'm just quickly now going through some of our projects which are under design stages. This is the mixed-use project in the UAE. It's a commercial, retail, apartments, and villas. And the whole concept of how we can create all our design, and this is the subject of this presentation about shaping cities and communities. We strongly believe that the designs should play an important part in shaping the communities and how we bring people together, how we create spaces where people can interact with. So this project was based on creating a series of layers of bridges and public spaces that connect all the buildings together on a ground floor level and on the podium level. So we create nice terraces and nice elevated spaces that makes the space to a truly human-centric space. So this is a view from one of the plazas overlooking the restaurant, outdoor sitting area. These are the apartments with a view towards the plaza. So it's again about bringing people together, but at the same time respecting privacy and as we are connecting all the buildings on the ground floor with the shaded corridors, so when the weather is very hot, we also connected the buildings through the podium level, through outdoor terraces that people also can navigate from one building to another building. Just different views showing how this concept of plazas and mini courtyards interlocking and intersecting, how we address the commercial buildings. So these are offices with a cafe on the ground floor. So we pushed the cafe, only 50% of the cafe's indoor space, and the rest we elevated the first floor of the offices on columns, and we created an outdoor sitting area for the cafe. Another project we are working on, so we don't only do fluid architecture, organic architecture curves. Sometimes the design itself requires a more different approach. So this is a mixed-use project in Dubai as well, where we have offices, retail, and apartments, and the whole concept about creating pixelated clusters overlapping each other, and they start creating the form, and they start to create voids and spaces for shaded areas, outdoor sitting areas, courtyards. All our design philosophy is about creating outdoor spaces that could allow public and users as well to interact together. And how we can also utilize the roof of the spaces by creating outdoor sitting area and creating. We always believe that the roof is our fifth elevation, it's our fifth facade. So we have 4 facades in any project, but the roof always should be treated as the fifth elevation to make sure that it's quite accessible and it has an architectural features. We're moving to a completely different scale. This is a competition we won in China for a mixed-use master plan. Hotels, offices, apartments, retail, parks. And the project is to be built over an existing development. So there was an existing development in Shenzhen in China. Shenzhen is a very beautiful city, almost half an hour away from Hong Kong. And the brief was the client purchased this piece of land, which hosts a very, very old residential city. And we are replacing this with our new design. And again, our main mandate was how to maximize the usage of the footprint and at the same time instead of creating a jungle of skyscrapers, how we can balance this by creating human-centric spaces and by not interrupting the connection, not only within the city, but also within the surrounding district and communities. So our first approach from a diagram's point of view was to maximize the number of the towers we can fit on the plot. So for commercial reasons, the client want to make sure that they maximize the built-up area, the GFA, the square meters they can build. And then we start understanding how we can connect this new city with the surrounding cities as well. Then we started slightly adjusting the position of each tower, the rotation to maximize the view corridors, the wind direction, the sun path, etc., to make sure that environmentally each tower is positioned in its optimum way. And then what we did, we created 3 layers of what we call it a horizontal city. So we have the vertical city, which is the towers, and then we created the 3 layers of horizontal city in the form of bridges, podiums, platforms, public arm spaces that allows the people to navigate on a human scale level, on the podium level, while the vertical city sits on the top. So as you can see on this render, this is a shot taken from one of the bridges. So you have a seamless mobility within the city itself through 3 layers on the ground floor, the first floor, and the podium. and then the whole vertical city, the tower itself, sits on the top of these podiums. So it doesn't create a sense of a dominant features. It creates a sense of human scale approach. So it's a human scale city within this giant city on the top of it. I'm just quickly going through some of the projects we're doing. This is another project we're doing in Dubai. It's a mini master plan where the client wanted to build a small offices building for the social media companies like TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, etc. So our idea was again to create a cluster and a building for each social media representative, but still they are not acting and performing in isolation, but they're also connected on the ground floor level and on the podium level to make sure that social media is about connectivity. Yes, you have every company has its own headquarters, its own policy, its own mission, its own vision, but at the same time, their mission is to connect people, and that's what the building also should be doing, connecting buildings from different levels through bridges, and again, bringing people closer. And the concept of building these layers of bridges also enhance visual connectivity, so you always feel you are part of the building wherever you go. This is a master plan we are doing currently in Sharjah in the UAE. It's 520 units between townhouses, villas. So again, we did the master plan of how we create a human urban space that could be allowing people to have outdoor parks, public spaces, and how we can have a seamless relationship between the different clusters within the master plan. So the master plan divided into phases. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 phases. So we created this kind of elliptical intersection between each phase of the master plan that breaks the boundaries between the phases. So you have a complete synergy and complete seamless connection between each townhouse. And then how to bring the design of the villas by creating a significant feature that creates a clear entry point to each villa. How you can read this on eye street level. So when you do a master plan, you don't just look from the aerial view, but also you study the eye level view, which is the most important. That's what people will see on a daily basis. And how to create this kind of interesting element that creates a profound destination for this project. So these are the villas components. These are the townhouses components. Different views from the city. And again, creating these small sikkas, the small walkways between the townhouses, trying to create intimate spaces. It's very important to understand the human behavior in terms of distance, in terms of what is the most convenient distance between the houses to create a comfort for the tenants and for the people walking in. And that kind of, walkway part, it doesn't only create a walkway for the people to practice and to have jogging and walking during the day or during the evening, but also creates a visual and private separation between the townhouses. And each townhouse, it becomes your own small oasis with a small swimming pool landscape that completely gives you an enclosure and separates you from your neighbors and from the surrounding as well. I will end up with this last project we are working on in Dubai. So we work most of the typology. We are working on residential projects, on master plan, on hospitality and commercial. Of course, I couldn't put all the projects we're working on because of the time and because some of the projects are confidential. But this is one of the latest projects we're working at the moment on. It's a G+30, so it's a 30 floors towers. And the main challenge here for us was that the client wanted to create. The client was very obsessed about maximizing the efficiency of the tower, not creating so many big balconies. They want to make sure that we utilize every square meter of the building. And our challenge was how to create an interesting extrusion. So when you do a tower, you design the footprint, and then you extrude. You have the central core where you have your lifts and your staircase in the center. But how to create I mean, the tower is a very dominant feature. I mean, if you are talking about G plus 30, G plus 40 floors, it's a very significant structure in the middle of the city. So how to create this in a way that creates a very seamless transition and very seamless vertical transition within the city. So our main approach was to, again, working on a maximized and efficient floor plan and start slightly articulating the balcony's position and the balcony's depth and try to create a gaps between the towers. So, you know, when we are designing a tower which is 30 floors, there are certain floors where we need to introduce mechanical floors, we call them. So every 15 or every 30 floors, you should dedicate an entire floor for mechanical rooms. So instead of just creating an enclosed space with mechanical spaces, we converted this mechanical space into a vertical garden. So in the center of the tower, on this floor, on the 15th floor, we have the mechanical rooms. But around the mechanical room, we created a buffer zone and we created a garden, an outdoor garden that breaks this rigidness of the vertical city. And as you can see, because we have the one-bedroom apartments and the two-bedroom apartments, let's call them the cheap apartments on the lower floors, and we have the more expensive apartments, the bigger apartments on the upper floors. Even the transition of the balconies started gradually going from very kind of, you know, small balconies, almost zero changes on the floor plan, and started to be maximized, more open towards the top, where we have the penthouses, where we have the duplexes, where we have the 3-bedroom apartments and the 4-bedroom apartments. And by this, we maximize the views towards the sea. And as you can see, this is the vertical garden, which is the mechanical floor. So we converted the mechanical floor into a vertical garden, and it adds a sense of landscape, kind of a vertical landscape within the city horizon. And this is kind of a view again on the upper floors, where we have the penthouses, the townhouses, the terraces, and the way of shifting each. So none of these movements is random. So we do intensive research and studies how we can position each balcony. Each balcony is serving the bedrooms, or it's serving the dining rooms, or it's serving the living room, how it acts on the level below, how we do all this shifting, how much the balcony could be cantilevering for structural purposes. And again, going back to the concept of 3D, you cannot sort out these things by plans and by sections. You can only sort out these things by having a very strong 3D capabilities and skills that allows you to understand the design, to understand the form, what we call it the form finding process, and how you can make the 3D tools helping you and translating your ideas and your vision. And that's it. I wanted to be short. I didn't want to take much of your time. I didn't want to just go forever. So that's the conclusion of the presentation. I hope it was helpful and I was not very fast.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was amazing, and thank you for sharing all this experience and work with us. It's mean a lot for us and our students, and hopefully they learn a lot. Thank you.
Pleasure.
I guess you.
Questions? I'm more than happy.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. It was amazing. Thank you for sharing all this work and your experience with us. It means a lot. And I will ask the student if they have any question, since you have a short time. Any question? Any question? Any of you? Okay, so the student, they have no question. I might ask you a question.
Please, please.
Yes. With rapid urbanization and increasing the density, do you think current architecture practice are truly capable of fostering the community, or do we need a fundamental shift in design methodologies?
I mean, of course, we need the fundamental shift. I think I always say that our profession is one of the most laid back, one of the most backwarded professions ever, because we're still not able to maintain and address the shift in the social behaviors of the people. The cities are changing, our life is changing, and we still see the same architecture that people have been building over the last 100 years. If you compare architecture to other professions, if you compare architecture to aviation, automobile, with the AI now, we are still implementing the exact same construction methods, material methods, design methods that we've been doing in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. Nothing is changing at all. And I think there's an urgent need of architects to understand how we should be able to shift the social behaviors of the people, how it's changing, how the communities are evolving, how the cities are evolving. People are getting more disconnected because maybe of the life we live in. So I do believe that we have a role as architects to reconnect people again. We already disconnected by default. You go home, you are on your laptop, on your mobile. Even when you sit with your family, you are disconnected. So buildings and spaces should be able at least to bridge that gap a little bit more and bring people together by understanding how we can create public spaces, how we can utilize the spaces more to become all-inclusive for users, for end users, for people within the city itself. So that's why maybe I'm so much against the way that architects have been looking at AI at the moment. Unfortunately, AI, architects especially, they started to look at AI as a very superficial thing. I won't sketch something, I will put it in AI, mid-journey, it looks pretty. I'm a designer, which is a very, very stupid thing to do. I would like to see how...
I want to hear this actually. The second question was AI, but you answered already. Thank you very much. Yes?
Architects are, I have to say architects, excuse my language, we are the stupidest people of implementing AI ever. Like all the other professions, they did AI very cleverly, very nicely. We started to be lazy. We started to be like, I do sketch, I put it in my journey, I change, and then the worst thing that make my building look Zaha's building or it looks like Foster's building, and it's just a joke. In the office, we apply AI. We apply AI in post-production of the visual. So when we do a render, we put it in AI to enhance the surroundings, the sky, the city. We do it in data collection. We do it in area calculations. So it just makes things faster. But it's absolutely forbidden to do any design, any sketch using AI.
Or presentation technique, let's say.
Absolutely.
Presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time and for sharing all this experience. We really honor and appreciate all this. Thank you very much. And hopefully to see you again and again by different webinars. And hope you enjoy it all.
Absolutely. And this is just one advice to the students. I know nobody asked any question, but you guys, you have to be curious about your profession. Just please don't treat architecture as a degree I have to put in my pocket and I have to find a job. It's a very, very demanding. You need to be curious. You need to be passionate. You need to do. It's quite demanding profession, and it always amazed me when I make a talk and people have no questions. Really, but maybe everything was clear from my end. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Tarık. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.